Senate Budget Committee member John Thune is calling President Obama's new spending plan a fantasy budget. Senator John Thune joined us. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Greta.
Well, you can't call Senator Harry Reid and the Senate's budget plan a fantasy, can you?
Phantom.
Phantom? It
doesn't exist.
Okay, on a serious note, you're on the Senate Budget Committee. I realize that you're the Republican member. You're in the minority. Right. What do you do all year long if you haven't put together a budget?
We hold hearings.
For what purpose?
We listen to experts talk about budgetary matters, and on the assumption that at some point, somewhere in the distant future, we might someday do a budget. I mean, it really is. It's a complete sham.
We called Senator Harry Reid's office today because I want to make sure that I was fair to him, because for the life of me, I can't figure out why the Senate won't put a budget bill, and the President's put one up, the House has put one up, and the Senate Democrats, since they run the Senate, have not done it. And he said that there's no intention, that there's not intention to bring the Presidents to the floor, and that he's satisfied that the Budget Act of last August suffices.
Yeah. Well, you know, and what the Democrats in the Senate are doing is following their leader. They're following the President in terms of not taking any of these big issues on. At least the President has to put forward a budget. He gives us a budget. It didn't do anything. It doesn't take on any of the big issues. But it is incomprehensible that the United States Congress can spend $3.7 trillion dollars, thank you very much, of the people's money every single year and not do a budget, not lay out a plan for how that's going to be spent.
But the law says that the Senate's supposed to do it, right?
It does.
And the Senate's not doing it. I'm not even saying whether it's a good budget or bad budget, but the Senate is just saying no budget, and we pay we pay to get a budget.
Well, and that's why our budget law needs to be reformed.
You just do the job.
Well, you do the job, you follow the law, but right now it's a non-binding resolution. When it is passed, the President doesn't have to sign it. It gets routinely waived. But the thing that's so incredibly frustrating to those of us who believe we ought to do a budget, the House of Representatives will do one, and we will get a vote on that in the Senate. We will bring the House budget up as an amendment to something and get a vote on the House-passed budget. We will also try and get a vote on the President's budget, which last year was defeated by a vote of 97-0. There wasn't a single Democrat that voted for it.
But you can't. But without any budget coming from the Senate, you can't negotiate. I mean, Senator Harry Reid is a pocket veto, and he's denying the rest of us at least the opportunity to fight and argue and debate and decide what's best,
including his Democrats. And maybe what this really spells out the need for a balanced budget amendment to the Constitution. I mean, that's what so many states have. There is a constitutional requirement that they balance their budget every year, and we just don't have anything like that. And right now, we don't have any leadership, and it's incredibly frustrating as somebody who does, as you said, sit on the Budget Committee and go to all these hearings and listen to these great witnesses talk about the need for a budget and for need for us to get spending under control, and then have the leader of the United States.
I mean, I'm just curious. It would drive me nuts to sit there if it were to no end.
Well, and we continually remind the leadership on the Budget Committee that we need to do a budget, and we hope they'll do a budget. And he keeps saying we're going to do a budget, but this will be now the 4th year in a row, I think. And I've only been on the committee for a couple of years, but it's really a useless committee if you're not going to work, and we're not doing anything.
All right, the President who has put a budget out, I'm curious. We have a minute left, but you don't like that one.
Well, look, the President's budget really punted on all the major issues. These are serious times we're living in. They require serious leadership, and we're not getting it. The President is adding $11 trillion to the debt over the course of the next decade. He increases spending by 62% and raises taxes by $2 trillion. You'd think with $2 trillion worth of tax increases that you would at least do something to get the debt under control. But
so how do we operate if we have no budget? Just a continuing resolution?
Continuing resolution, probably some point at the end of the year. I mean, the appropriation committees will mark bills, at least at some point, we think, to the number that was agreed to in the Budget Control Act last August. But without a budget, you really don't have any. You don't have any blueprint. You don't have
we have a budget for our show. I mean, everybody has a budget.
Every family has a budget.
And not only that, we do our job. I mean, we're supposed to be here at 10 o'clock at night. We're here at 10 o'clock at night.
It's a complete.
The Senate's supposed to be sort of the steward of the government, or part of it, and.
Right. Well, it's a complete failure of leadership and a complete abdication of the responsibility that we have to be good stewards of the people's tax dollars. And so, again, the House will pass one, and we'll probably get a vote on it in the Senate, but it's not going anywhere, and the Senate's not doing one.
Senator, thank you.
Thanks, Greta.
Nice to see you as always.